Hi everyone and welcome to another video. This is an SQL video, but I thought I'll explain this using an Excel. Now, what we are going to discuss is a pretty quick topic, that is the difference between how you actually write an SQL query and what actually happens behind the scenes when a query is getting executed. So let's see how this is done. Now, let's focus on the first column, which is about order of writing an SQL query. So here I have an example for you. This is a very simple query that you will write in SQL, which starts with select, then from, where, order by, and let's say you are using join or other keywords like limit, group by, having, all of that will come into picture here. But the purpose of this video is to make you understand what exactly is the difference between how you write it and how it actually gets executed by SQL behind the scenes. Okay, so let's look at this order first. So if you notice this order, you will be very familiar with, if you're already writing SQL queries, that you start with a select statement, then you go to from, join, where, group by, having, order by, and limit. Now I have just included the main ones here. There are lots more phrases, conditions, and all of that comes in. But this is just to give you an idea. Now have a look at this execution order. This is how SQL in the backend executes a particular SQL query. Okay, so it does not start with select. It will start from the from clause, where the database needs to know which tables to work with before doing anything else. Okay, so let's start with that one. We are looking at from right here. Okay, now the reason why the database needs to know which tables to work with before doing anything else is because, just think of it in a real world scenario. Let's say you go to a shop and order a sandwich. The way you will inform the shopkeeper to make a sandwich is that you want a sandwich, right? That's your select statement. Now, the shopkeeper, what he will do is, he will first see from where he needs to make the sandwich, either a dough or from a packet of bread or somewhere. So he needs to go to the source of it. So in SQL's case, it is actually figuring out from which particular table the data needs to come. So once SQL figures out that, it will then move on to the join statement. Okay, where the tables are combined before any filtering happens. So what happens in join is what you see here. Now once join is taken care of, it moves on to where, so that it can filter out any unwanted rows pretty early in the process to reduce any time for processing. Okay, and similarly, once where is taken care of, it goes to group by, where all the grouping happens, and the having clause, which filters groups after they have been created. And having is similar to where, but it's used for group bys. And only once that is done, SQL actually looks at the select statement. Okay, so if you notice this, the difference between these orders, you will see one thing, that select comes first when you write a query, but it is executed way behind when the actual execution happens. Okay, and the reason is, only after all filtering and grouping happens, you select and compute the specific columns which are required. Now once you have all the columns that are required, in the backend what happens is the sorting happens, which is done by order by. Okay, so order by does all the sorting for you only after everything is selected. And limit is something that's sort of a final step, just to restrict or limit the number of output that you get. Okay, so if you notice closely, the major difference comes in the way that the select statement pushes a bit behind when it actually comes to execution. But if you notice this particular order, you would notice that it sort of remains the same. Let me just select it and show it to you. So this particular order remains the same with the exclusion of select moving to a later stage. Okay. Now let's have a quick look at a query. So in this case, you have select name from employees where there is a condition given and order by. But what actually happens in the backend is first the from statement is executed. Okay. Now once from is taken care of, it goes to where it will filter out any necessary requirements. Once from is done and where is done, it actually moves to select. And only after select, it will go to order by. So if you notice, there is a lot changing here when it comes to actual execution. But the way you write it is different. And why exactly is that? Here is the answer for you. We actually write for clarity, but SQL prioritizes performance and efficiency. That's why you will see that SQL is written to be very close to natural English language, whereas the execution, the order that we just saw, this particular order, is slightly different in the way it is executed. So I hope this was helpful to you. If you want additional videos which explains this with the use of an SQL query on an SQL platform, I'm happy to do that. But any feedback would be great. Please go ahead and like the video if you enjoyed it. If there is any comment, any feedback, please feel free to post it in the comment section. And if you are yet to subscribe to the channel, please go ahead and do that. I'll come back with another video very shortly. Thank you.